What if I told you the next billion-dollar idea will not come from the smartest person in the room, but from the one who understands the shift before everyone else? Right now, while most people are busy chasing salaries, arguing about jobs, and scrolling without purpose, a silent financial revolution is rewriting who wins and who disappears. In this video, I'm going to expose the hidden money systems, the real impact of AI, and the elite strategies shaping wealth in 2026, knowledge that is never taught in schools and never shared openly. Watch this till the end, because missing even one idea here could cost you years, and understanding it could change how you see money, work, and your future forever. What if the next billionaire is not sitting in Silicon Valley? Not born rich, not powerful today. What if the next billion-dollar idea is being built right now by someone with a phone, Wi-Fi, and courage, while most people are still arguing about salaries? Every major fortune in history was created during a shift, and 2026 is not coming quietly. It's coming like a financial earthquake. If you understand this shift, you win. If you ignore it, you work for those who didn't. Stay with me, because what I'm about to show you was never taught in school. Right now, the world is quietly splitting into two groups, and most people don't even realize it's happening. Those who understand where money is moving, and those who will spend the next decade chasing it from behind. The dangerous part is not poverty, it's delay, because every major wealth shift rewards early awareness and punishes late reaction, and 2026 is shaping up to be one of the most aggressive shifts we've ever seen. The rules that built wealth for our parents are collapsing in slow motion, and the people who sense this early are not panicking, they are positioning. They are not asking how to get a better job, they are asking how to build leverage. They are not obsessed with effort, they are obsessed with systems. Look around you, AI is not a future concept anymore. It is already replacing tasks, decisions, and even creativity. But here's what most people miss. AI doesn't destroy value, it concentrates it. It takes scattered effort and compresses it into scalable power, which means one person with vision can now do what entire teams needed years ago. This is exactly how the next billion-dollar ideas are born, not from inventing something magical, but from connecting technology to real human pain faster than everyone else. Think about education, healthcare, finance, mental health, small businesses drowning in complexity. These problems are massive, emotional, and global, and the people who build simple AI-powered solutions around them won't need permission from banks, governments, or corporations because platforms have replaced gatekeepers. Attention has become the real currency, and if you own attention, you don't beg for opportunities, opportunities chase you. That's why creators are becoming companies, audiences are becoming assets, and influence is turning into infrastructure. The smartest players are building ecosystems, not products, because products can be copied, but communities compound. They understand that trust is the most valuable commodity in the digital age, and trust is built by showing up early, consistently, and honestly while everyone else is still consuming. This is also why time-saving businesses are exploding, because overwhelmed people will always pay to reduce friction, confusion, and mental load. The elite know this, which is why they invest in systems that remove effort from others while creating leverage for themselves. They don't trade hours for money, they trade ideas for ownership. They don't wait to be ready, they move while learning. They don't think in months, they think in decades. And while the majority debates whether change is fair, the future quietly locks in new winners. The uncomfortable truth is that the middle ground is disappearing. Either you build, own, and adapt, or you remain dependent on systems designed by others. Borders are becoming less relevant than bandwidth, credentials are losing power to proof, and stability is shifting from employment to adaptability. This is not a motivational fantasy, it's a structural reality unfolding in real time. Every major industry is being unbundled, automated, or reimagined, and the people who win won't be the loudest or the luckiest, but the most aware. Awareness leads to positioning, positioning leads to opportunity, and opportunity compounds into wealth. That's the real game. Not hustle for the sake of hustle, not money for the sake of money, but control over direction. Because when you control direction, you don't fear disruption, you profit from it. And this moment right now, this exact window between confusion and clarity, is where the next generation of builders is quietly deciding whether they will consume the future or own a piece of it. Most people underestimate how fast this shift is accelerating because change feels invisible before it becomes unavoidable, and by the time it feels obvious, the biggest opportunities are already gone. Right now, money is quietly detaching from physical effort and attaching itself to digital leverage, and that single fact explains almost everything happening around us. A teenager with a laptop can now outperform a 40-year-old company, not because the teenager is smarter, but because the tools are asymmetric. AI doesn't care about age, background, or location, it only responds to clarity and direction. That's why the most dangerous person in the next economy is not the most educated one, but the one who understands how to ask the right questions and connect the right systems. We are entering an era where execution speed matters more than credentials, where learning beats knowing, and where adaptability beats experience. This is uncomfortable for traditional institutions because they were built on slow validation cycles, but it's a gift for individuals who are willing to move before certainty arrives. Think about how many people are still waiting for stability to return, not realizing that stability itself has been redesigned. The new stability comes from optionality, from having multiple income streams, from owning assets that work while you sleep, from being able to pivot when a platform changes its rules. This is why the smartest people are not putting all their identity into a single job title anymore. They are building skills that transfer across industries and systems that don't depend on a single employer. They understand that in the future, the most valuable resume won't be a list of jobs, but proof of outcomes. Proof that you can build, grow, and adapt. Proof that you can solve problems at scale. And scale is the keyword most people misunderstand, because scale doesn't mean working more, it means designing once and distributing infinitely. That's why software, media, education platforms, digital services, and automated businesses are absorbing so much value. They scale without proportional cost. The moment you understand this, your thinking changes. You stop asking, how do I make more money? And start asking, how do I remove myself from the equation while increasing impact? That's how elite wealth is built, not through exhaustion, but through architecture. And architecture starts with mindset. The future belongs to people who can zoom out, see patterns, and act before consensus forms. Consensus is expensive. Early action is discounted. Every major platform you see today was once ignored, mocked, or misunderstood, and the people who won weren't necessarily the most confident, but the most curious. Curiosity leads to experimentation. Experimentation leads to data, and data leads to advantage. This is why fear is the most costly emotion in the new economy. It freezes people while the world moves on. Meanwhile, those who embrace uncertainty learn faster because they are not trying to protect an old identity. They are building a new one. The next billion-dollar ideas won't announce themselves with headlines. They will emerge quietly in niche communities, small experiments, and underestimated markets. They will be born from people who notice friction others accept as normal, who see inefficiency where others see routine. And once those ideas gain momentum, they will feel obvious in hindsight, even though almost no one saw them coming. This is the paradox of opportunity. It looks risky before it looks inevitable. That's why the gap between those who win and those who watch keeps widening. Not because of intelligence, but because of timing and courage. The people who win are not gambling. They are making informed bets on the direction of the world. They study trends, not headlines. They follow behavior, not opinions. They understand that where attention flows, money follows, and where money flows, power concentrates. This is why building an audience, a brand, or a trusted voice is no longer optional. It's foundational. In a world flooded with information, trust becomes the filter, and those who earn trust gain leverage that can't be easily replaced by machines. AI can generate content, but it can't replace human judgment, taste, and vision. The winners will be those who combine human insight with machine efficiency, who use technology as an amplifier rather than a crutch. And as this amplification accelerates, the distance between action and outcome will shrink. Feedback loops will get faster. Mistakes will be cheaper. Success will compound quicker. This favors builders, not spectators. It favors those who are willing to test ideas in public, learn from failure, and iterate relentlessly. The old model of planning forever and launching once is dying. The new model is launching early and learning constantly. And as this model spreads, the definition of success will change. Success won't be about appearing busy. It will be about creating leverage. It won't be about impressing others. It will be about owning your time. Because time, more than money, is the real currency of freedom. The people who understand this are already designing their lives around flexibility, not status. They are choosing control over comfort, ownership over approval, and long-term vision over short-term validation. And while this path is not always easy, it is increasingly the only path that leads to real independence. The systems of the past rewarded obedience. The systems of the future reward initiative. That is the quiet truth reshaping everything, and those who align with it early will look back and realize that this moment, this confusing, uncertain, transitional moment, was not a crisis, but an invitation. And the hardest part about accepting this invitation is letting go of the old mental models that once made sense but now quietly limit you. Because the future does not announce itself politely, it forces upgrades. Many people will feel busy in the coming years yet remain stuck, mistaking motion for progress, consuming endless information without ever converting it into action. The real separator will not be access to knowledge, because knowledge is everywhere. It will be the ability to synthesize, decide, and move. Decision-making is becoming a superpower, especially in a world where options are infinite and distractions are engineered. The people who build the next billion-dollar ideas will be those who can cut through noise, focus on signal, and commit while others hesitate. They will understand that clarity is not something you wait for, it's something you create through movement. Every step taken reveals the next one, and momentum itself becomes an asset. This is why small experiments matter more than big plans, because experiments generate feedback, and feedback creates intelligence. Intelligence, not information, is what compounds. You can already see this playing out in how fast new business models appear and disappear. Entire industries are being rebuilt in months, not decades, and those who cling to certainty will always arrive late. The new winners are comfortable being beginners repeatedly, because they know that ego is expensive and adaptability is profitable. They don't romanticize mastery of a single tool, they master learning itself. This is especially critical in an AI-driven world where tools evolve faster than any individual skill set. The smartest approach is not to compete with machines on what they do best, but to orchestrate them toward outcomes that matter. This requires vision, not code, judgment, not speed alone. Vision is what turns raw capability into value, and value is what markets reward. That's why the future belongs to people who can frame problems clearly, communicate solutions simply, and execute decisively. Communication, in fact, is becoming one of the most valuable leverage points because ideas that cannot be explained cannot be scaled. The ability to tell a compelling story to investors, users, customers, or an audience is no longer optional. It is infrastructure. Stories move capital, stories move attention, and stories move people to act. Behind every billion-dollar idea is a narrative that made others believe before results were obvious. This is not manipulation. It is alignment. People invest in what they understand and trust. Trust, however, is fragile, and in a digital world filled with noise, it must be earned through consistency and proof. This is why long-term thinking beats quick wins even in a fast-moving economy. Short-term tactics may generate spikes, but systems generate stability. The people who win big are patient with outcomes but impatient with execution. They show up daily, refine relentlessly, and let compounding do the heavy lifting. Compounding is the quiet force most people underestimate because its effects are invisible at first. A small advantage, applied consistently, eventually becomes an unbridgeable gap. This applies to capital, skills, networks, and reputation. Reputation, especially, is becoming a form of currency. In a world where anyone can launch anything, credibility becomes the filter. Those who protect their reputation, who think long-term about trust, will find doors opening that others never even see. Networks will outperform individual effort because opportunities increasingly move through relationships rather than applications. The future favors those who collaborate, who understand that leverage multiplies when shared. Lone geniuses are rare. Connected builders are everywhere. This shift will challenge the myth of self-made success and replace it with a more accurate story of ecosystem-driven growth. And within these ecosystems, power will flow to those who create value for others at scale. Value creation, not extraction, is the only sustainable strategy in an increasingly transparent world. Exploitative models collapse faster now because information travels instantly. What lasts are systems that align incentives, reward contribution, and grow stronger as more people participate. This is why community-driven platforms, shared ownership models, and decentralized structures are gaining momentum. They tap into something deeper than profit. They tap into belonging and purpose. Purpose is not a soft concept. It is a powerful motivator that drives resilience and loyalty. People will work harder, stay longer, and contribute more when they feel part of something meaningful. The next generation of billion-dollar ideas will understand this and design for humans, not just margins. They will integrate technology without losing humanity, efficiency without losing empathy. This balance will be difficult, but it will be decisive. As automation increases, human-centered value will become more precious, not less. Judgment, ethics, taste, and leadership will matter more, not because machines fail, but because machines lack context. Context is what turns data into wisdom. Wisdom is what guides strategy. And strategy is what separates temporary success from lasting impact. The coming years will reward those who think like architects, not just operators, who design systems that can evolve rather than rigid structures that break under pressure. Flexibility will be a feature, not a flaw. The ability to pivot without panic will define survival. And as volatility becomes the norm, emotional discipline will be just as important as intellectual ability. Fear-driven decisions will destroy more wealth than bad ideas ever could. The winners will be those who can stay calm in uncertainty, who see volatility as information rather than threat. They will train themselves to respond, not react, to build when others freeze, to invest when others retreat. This contrarian calm is not natural, it is cultivated. It comes from understanding cycles, from knowing that every disruption carries opportunity for those prepared to act. Prepared does not mean having all the answers. It means having the mindset to move forward without them. And that mindset, once adopted, changes everything. It shifts how you see risk, how you value time, how you define success. You stop measuring progress by external approval and start measuring it by internal alignment. You stop chasing trends blindly and start positioning intentionally. You stop asking what is safe and start asking what is inevitable. Because inevitability is where the smartest bets are placed long before the crowd arrives. This is the moment that will quietly define who you become in the next decade, because history does not reward those who saw change coming. It rewards those who moved when it was still uncomfortable. The future you are walking into will not be built around permission, titles, or safety. It will be built around awareness, ownership, and courage. You now understand that wealth is no longer about working harder, but about thinking longer, positioning earlier, and building systems that outlive effort. The tools are already here, the shifts are already happening, and the gap between action and regret is closing fast. What happens next depends on a single decision, whether you return to old habits or step into builder mode. Because the world will move forward with or without your consent, and those who hesitate will fund the freedom of those who didn't. This is not a warning meant to scare you. It's an invitation to rise. The next billion-dollar ideas will be created by people who chose ownership over comfort, vision over fear, and long-term impact over short-term security. The question is no longer if the future will change everything, it's whether you will be ready to claim your place in it.